All right, I think we should be starting up now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to youtube.com/Chris Spags /the 420 cast. I'm trying something different today. So you guys may have noticed I haven't had any follow-up videos on this YouTube channel since I put out that one a couple weeks ago. I also put out the one talking about what happened to the channel. We can talk more about that as we go. But basically, there's a situation here where I can't get my YouTube channel back fully. I tried talking to YouTube, so to take everybody back, if you didn't watch that first video about what happened to the former Guyism.com YouTube channel, basically, the company who had bought Guyism from me and from our little consortium that we had going, they ended up being worth nothing. They sold the company to another company for less than they were worth. We got nothing out of it. As a result of that and the deal that we had, I'm allowed to reclaim the assets that I had from them that are within reason, and this is one of those assets. And unfortunately, the fine folks at YouTube are not. Also, my hair looks like an asshole today. I'm fully aware of that. We can talk about that too if you want. But basically, these people took the channel, had possession of it for a few years. I ended up letting it die. Then when the company got sold off, there's now nobody in charge of who would be in charge of the channel. So I spoke to YouTube, spoke to the partner people, probably not the highest up partner people, but people who I guess tried to help and kind of went about it the way that they could. And unfortunately, those people sort of were not the most helpful, I guess, which might not be a surprise to anybody out there who's ever tried to deal with customer service. But basically, the channel is still being monetized by a company that no longer exists. They still have the rights to the channel, even though they don't exist, even though technically I can take it back. I actually can't take it back, and YouTube won't let me take it back. So I'm trying to figure out another way to go about it. I'm trying to escalate the situation as best I can to help figure things out. But basically, what I've been doing content-wise on my own, I have an email at spagsemail.com. I have a podcast, the Untitled Chris Spags Podcast. I also work for the daily fantasy sports company Awesemo every day if you want to check out my content there. Obviously a very different thing, one that would hopefully require you being into daily fantasy sports. But basically, this is one of the things I do every Wednesday. I do something called the 420 cast, which I try to kick off at 4:20 p.m. on the West Coast. Usually doesn't work out that way because of the West Coast timing and having a job and stuff, and also sports slates when you work in daily fantasy sports analysis can be kind of tough. But I'm doing this live stream today, which is normally what I do on my Patreon, patreon.com/Chris Spags. And basically what I want to do, I have a screen share up. You can see it there. I also got a new laptop this weekend, so that's also part of why I'm really trying things out now, because I kind of want to do some more different content. I enjoy the stuff I do for work. I enjoy the podcast I do. I've enjoyed writing for the people I do who I have on my email list. But I want to get into the YouTube game more, and I want to create some more content. And for me, the easiest thing to do in terms of both prep and in terms of just kind of being aware of things as best I can be is doing a live show and just jumping into it and hoping for the best. The Endless Wander, I want the old channel back. Well, that's unfortunate, Endless Wander. Thankfully, the people who were on that channel you can find doing other stuff, doing lots of great things in all those places. So go check them out. Go check out Katie on ESPN Plus, of course. Katie Nolan, one of our most illustrious alums from this channel. But things change, and you try things out, and you hope to make things work. So sorry, the Endless Wander, but thank you for tuning in regardless. But anyway, so normally this is a podcast I do for Patreon, but today I'm going to do it with this live stream component. As you can see here, I just have it on my podcast homepage because I didn't want to have it on the Chrome homepage in case somehow whatever weird Pornhub shit I'm into pops up. I don't know what would have been on there that could have been embarrassing, but it just seemed like a safer play to do that. But I have some unopened tabs, so basically some stuff that I kind of thought was interesting throughout the week, stuff that I probably won't end up writing about, but that I kind of wanted to hit on, and I'm going to do it in this video, and I'm also going to probably smoke some weed during it, but I don't really know. I'm kind of nervous about doing that on YouTube. I know people do that on YouTube, but stuff changes, and I don't want to be the one who gets hammered for it while I'm already trying to fight to win things back. But I do have this thing, so I did want to talk about it a little bit because this was one of the weirder things I've seen recently. And I know anything with Reddit, if you're a person out there who's watching this, Reddit can be a fun place. There can be a lot of great ways to connect with those people, a lot of great ways to kind of find people with similar interests and all that. At the same time, there are also a lot of situations that are less than ideal that occur on there in terms of just people lying, people making stuff up for attention, people whoring for their karma, the internet points that you get on Reddit, which I'm assuming people don't know everything about Reddit. And if you do, I'm not talking to you like an idiot, hopefully. But basically everybody on there just vies for these things called karma, which are just little points. And really meaningless overall, but much like a like on Instagram or whatever, it's, people have to find their validation in various ways. And this story did pop up there, and I thought it was an interesting one. I'm also checking the chat too in case anybody pops in, but I don't really care if anybody does because this is mostly an experiment more than anything. So this Today I Fucked Up Reddit is a Reddit that kind of compiles people's little anecdotes about ways that they screwed up. And again, same thing. It's all stories. It's not somebody posting a video, not somebody being like, oh, hey, like here's this thing that I did firsthand and here's my GoPro showing to verify that I actually did it. But it's a situation where people talk about their lives. And I thought this story was so strange but so detailed that it was worth. So I've worked in internet content for 10 years, and I think one of the things that you, as a person, especially who's blogged for a while, at my former employer at Barstool Sports, there was a big thing about not trying to blog fake stories. And to me, I don't really care as much about the reality of the story as much as I do about the believability of it and trying to figure out, what the point of it is and all that. And I think that with a video or with a piece of content like these, if there's enough details, like it's just somebody's story, and there's enough details that like seem like you have to be a really crazy person to be lying about this, I'm willing to go with the case. Like I just want to believe, for the most part, people online. I try to see the best in people, even though I've had a career of dealing with a lot of trolls and a lot of people who can be super toxic online. I try to believe the best in everybody. And I think this one is one where it's certainly not a situation where you want to believe the best in the person, but one where I want to believe it's real because the story is kind of crazy. And I'm going to read it to you like we're in kindergarten and we're circled around here reading a book, which it would be a terrible book. If once you read this, you'll understand why. The headline here: Today I fucked up by masturbating in VR, virtual reality, to my sister-in-law. This happened an hour ago, and I'm shaking in fear about how my life will now become from now on. There's two situations that leads to this conclusion of the fuck up. First situation: asked sister-in-law to borrow her 360 pocket camera for a trip wife and I are soon vacationing to. Found out the memory card still had content. Her husband travels a lot, and she made a 1-hour POV-style 360 porn video, assuming sent to him a while back. To be clear, this is one thing which I find a little bit weird. A chick sending nudes, a chick getting weird with it. I think overall that's something that I would. All right, the endless wander. That's fine. I'm just going to mute you on the channel, though, because this is a negativity-free zone, my friend. Get out of here. This is a 420 cast. It's not your speed round of yesterday, my friend. All right. So this thing to me kind of made me not buy in right away, because girls send nudes through their phone. Girls send an Instagram story. Girls send a Snapchat. A girl sending, or even a wife sending a POV porn video shot with a 360-degree camera, a little bit far-fetched to me, but I'm willing to go along with it because, again, a lot of details there. And who would make that up? Who would make up something that dumb? I've had the hots for her for the last 8+ years. Before she got married, and there were several times sexual tensions arose between the two of us. Living together for a year as strictly roommates, movies, dinners, getting drunk while watching movies, just the two of us, breakfast, etc. He also kind of seems like he's setting up a fetish porn here. That's cool, if that's the case, if it's fake. So if our fake flags are going off for you, I get it. This was also, by the way, one of the most upvoted posts on Reddit, I think, this year. So people did buy into it for whatever it's worth, if you're being skeptical right now with the coloring I've given you. So finding this video, I thought I struck gold. I could have what I always fantasized about, gifting my past self while living my current happy life. Second accident: I have an automated house that lights up the house with geolocation, so specific. For the app worked with Apple HomeKit, a third-party app needed to be downloaded which tracks your family and friends. The free version only allows you to add one person, so my wife. My wife and I have had this app for 3 years now. Even if it's useless after an app update a couple years back on the original app, we never deleted it because it was so useful tracking each other. I get a notification when she's at work and when I arrive at work. We also both get notifications when one arrives home. Good for times where she does groceries, for example, and I get a notification to prompt me to go out and help her out. Or when I work late and finally leave the office, prompting her to set up the dining table. Last night, she fell asleep without charging her phone. I hate when she does that. All right, that's a little bit dramatic writing. Somebody's trying to stretch their narrative chops here. Today, she goes to work with barely any battery. What if she needs to call the police or hospital for an emergency? I have the day off today. Today was the day I'd do the deed. I don't only go with simple 360 video, but literally set it up on my VR headset in bed with AirPods on. The whole experience. This would have lasted me tops 5 minutes. But the foreplay she does is long and boring. Then the action starts and I go on. Wife's phone didn't give a notification as she arrived because of her now dead phone. She comes to the bedroom to see me masturbating in bed with VR goggles on. She knows I masturbate occasionally, but never saw me do it. I sneak it in here and there. The VR porn was never discussed as an is it cheating if thing? You know the conversation I'm talking about. Is it cheating if you have a sex doll? Is it cheating if it's a robot? Is it cheating if you put a pleasure toy on and someone from across the internet strokes you in real time, etc.? Totally normal conversations. We've all been there. Classic mix-up, I'm sure. It was the type of convo we'd have at the very start of a relationship when we were friends 10 years ago. But to see how far one could take it, weird, I know. But let's say it was one of those pregame convos to see if we're on the same page before things started getting serious. Pregame convos were not only about sex, by the way. Anyways, VR wasn't a thing back then, so this never was discussed. So I never knew if I was right or wrong for me to do so. I guess it was wrong since she rushed in, ripped the goggles from my face. Then when I see her in the room, the fuck, she says. Then she looks inside. Is that my sister? I'm fucked. She still had her shoes on from arriving, so she just grabbed her bag with the VR headset and left the house. Seeing from the tracking app, she's at her parents' house, which are neighbors of the sister-in-law. I'm fucked. And then the too long didn't read, masturbated into VR. You get what's going on there. So, is it real or fake? I think that's a question you need to answer yourself. The follow-ups, though, were interesting. So there was a second update, which I couldn't find online, unfortunately. The guy deleted his original post, which you'll see the reasons why momentarily. Somebody else here on Reddit, eloquent girl, who I'm sure is both eloquent and a girl, and not a guy pretending to be both online, because men would never do that, I'm sure. There's only women online. There's no men online. You missed the second update before the nuclear fallout one. OP goes to the movies to try to avoid everyone. Comes home to sisters waiting for him, so both sisters are there, both the 360 porn sister and the real sister. They explained the videos for sister's lover and not husband, so making sure husband is hush-hush and deleted the video. So, okay. So she was cheating on the husband, who I guess was, I actually remember reading this now. The husband was like traveling a lot and whatever, and she suspected was also cheating on her, so she was cheating back. Very dramatic situation, but not out of the realm of possibility. You know, people do what people do. Though it does seem odd to me if you have a new side piece dude like the sister may have, you're sending him 360 porn, that's pretty fucking aggressive. Like, you gotta really, most girls, you gotta really coax them. You gotta butter them up for every bit of nudity you may get from them. But in this situation, this chick is writing 360 porn out there, doing some stuff. I find that a little bit hard to believe, but whatever. They invite the sister to stay, and everything seems okay for the night, ending with everyone sleeping in sleeping bags on the living room floor, which I remember the dude who was caught cheating, so to speak, felt like he was getting away with something because he was sleeping out there, and it was like we're having a fun camping trip, blah, blah, blah. OP, the original poster, thinks he dodged a bullet. Then there was a follow-up on the original post, which you could see here has that 110,000-ish upvotes, so a lot of karma for this account that has ended in such disdain. Actually, a lot of people also giving this guy money and shit, and Reddit money, which I don't know what the exchange rate is on Reddit money, but probably not great would be my guess. This is his now ex-wife. Did he not realize, or was he too dumb to remember we share everything, including the same Reddit app? I logged on to see this throwaway at the default login account. Okay, that's seems a little specious there, but, you know, I'm still willing to ride. I've removed all of this personal story for my family's protection and changed this account's password, although it might be too late and it already circulated online. Oops, whatever. I don't know her or the sister, though I would gladly watch the sister's 360 porn, I'm sure. Honestly, though, knowing the situation, it's probably like that episode of It's Always Sunny, where it's like, oh yeah, they're so sexy in your mind, and then it's just like fucking disgusting slobs people. But it is what it is. Took a look through the comments and was seriously disgusted by most of the responses suggesting to sexually approach both of us that night, which my sister did mention he tried something in the middle of the night. This guy is incredibly living in another world. All right, I admit that does sound a little bit like somebody getting some pseudo-porn fantasies going, but whatever. I'm only posting this to reassure everyone thinking he got away with it. These types of scumbags do not. So what is the end game if this is fake, I guess? Is a lesson thing, a drama, maybe somebody trying to show their creative writing chops? I don't know, but it does seem like this isn't the most satisfying narrative to end up with. Reason we slept in the living room is because I didn't want him to see my bags in the corner of the bedroom. He came home suddenly before I finished packing. This wasn't fun camping or a picnic. This morning before he woke up, we grabbed the rest of my stuff and left. I went to the bank and froze our joint account before he irresponsibly starts taking cash out. I am not seeing him anymore, going to lawyer up, give away all this Reddit gold to the comments that I feel were actually reasonable, and divorce his ass. Oh, and if you can read this, I've deleted the tracking app, winky face. My lawyer will call you to unfreeze your share and take the steps to unlink me for any other tracking apps you may have on me. So, again, seems a little bit speculative. I fully get why you might not buy in. I fully get why you might be a person who's, you know, a little more, skeptical than I would be. Somebody who's a little more concerned about the reality of stories online. So the thing to me is always, is this dude really this crazy? Like, is a person really this starving for attention, this unhappy in their life, this desperate for fetishizing their sister-in-law? Is this really credible? And in the world of, Pornhub with incest porn on every page, it certainly seems not unreasonable. But I really wonder sometimes, like what's real and what's not. And I think in this particular case, and also on that note, I am going to smoke weed on this. It is the 420 cast. I owe it to myself, and I owe it to the people on Patreon who are actually paying, and not the people on YouTube who probably don't give a shit about me doing this live stream test. To be honest, I didn't mean to blow that in the camera. I actually usually mean to blow it up in the air and away from things in general, so I don't like stain furniture or anything. And in hindsight, probably not the best to blow it in the camera. That wasn't me being a cool boy, so my bad. But I want to believe the story is real, and I also want to believe that somebody would do this. And I totally get the instinct, like, you know, it's not cool to talk about it anymore, and it's not. It was a thing where when the first fappening photos came out, where all the celebrities' photos were hacked, people talked a lot about like, oh, like, did you see Jennifer Lawrence's tits? Like, whoa, she's crazy. And girls, I know we're talking about it. Guys, I know we're talking about it. A lot of people were talking about it, and I'm not a person. I mean, it's clearly a wrong thing, but I'm not a person who won't look when I see when these things come by. It sucks. It's terrible. But like, if it's there, I'm going to look. And I think it would be the same thing. It's probably magnified if it's a sister or somebody like that. I really don't get how you wouldn't kind of take that in and just look. Granted, this guy should definitely be better. If the story's real again, and I'm going to assume it is, this guy should be better with his timing. He should probably be more aware of his wife's schedule. He should probably do a lot more things that would be appropriate in this kind of situation. You know, even if you are going to be a creep, even if you are going to jack it in VR to your sister-in-law, there's better ways to do it than doing it the second that you get your hands on it and knowing that your wife could pop in at any moment. Like, you do that the second she leaves, and then like give a 10-minute buffer. Like, that's what I used to do when like I was in high school or whatever. My parents would go to work and I was off from school, and like I knew I was gonna have a busy day of jacking it. I would do that when I knew they were gone. Or actually, this is a poor story. It is a poor story to tell on a first live stream on a YouTube channel. But what the fuck, man? I don't care. Nobody's gonna watch this, right? So when I was growing up, we had illegal cable in my house, but only in my parents' room. So they would leave, and then they would they sometimes would lock the door. I don't remember why they would lock the door. I forget if I did something wrong at some point. Probably because they knew I was jerking off in their room. But anyway, the end, some of it was that I would jerk off in their room because they had the porn. So I would do that and break in there and get out. Usually I would try to take the tape out and like go to my room if I could, like use my VCR or something if there were tapes. Or, you know, it would have been nice if I could have streamed it in my room back in the early days of internet. Despite my terrible man bun hair right now, I am, in fact, in my 30s, so I was in high school when internet was still crappy, and when you had to like wait for each individual pixel to materialize in front of you to even have a shot at scrapping one out. And I think for me, I could certainly relate to the air of danger given that there were certainly a couple times where I was watching porn. Actually, one time I had my buddy over. This just sounds worse already than it is. Like, he was like, "No way, you don't have porn." And I was like, "Yeah, I do have porn." I'm like 13 or something. Nothing gay happens, to be clear. Not there's anything wrong with that, but, you know, not my cup of tea, despite whatever value assessments you may want to make on me right now. And I remember we were in there one time, and like we had to like scramble fast. My parents, I had a driveway like right by my parents' window because we were in the basement apartment of a 3-story house, and they just like drove in while I was there. And we had to scramble out real fast, turn the porn off, like the fastest Olympic caliber, getting rid of porn on a screen and getting out of my parents' bedroom. And I'll tell you, it was a harrowing experience, but one that builds character for you in future situations. If I ever have to run away like Shaggy and it wasn't me, I'll probably be really well equipped for it. So that's all I can hope for personally. That's all I can do. But in the end, some of it all. I believe this story. I want to believe the best. I want to believe this couple worked it out. It's sad that this would be the deal breaker, like a big violation of trust, but a divorce over it? That seems tough. A divorce with kids too, I think he said. That seems like a tough one. Like, you know, fantasies are going to be fantasies, and if their sister's going to be leaving 360 porn around, somebody's going to jerk off to it. Might as well be family. I think that's that's about where I'd leave it. Another thing I want to hit on, and again, I'm just going through tabs that I have open right now because this is sort of what I kind of envisioned for the idea. And to be clear, I very much didn't flesh it out. And to the ones of you watching this right now, I am not a person who, I'm a person who plans in general and likes to plan and likes to have, you know, content ready to go because I try to be professional where I can. And my idea was to basically have like a bunch of unopened tabs that I kind of save, because everybody has this. Like you have your Chrome, your Firefox, or whatever. You have 100 tabs on there that you're meaning to read or you're not going to read. Some people really hoard them. I've seen that before, and I don't have hundreds of tabs, but I have some that accumulate throughout the day. Sometimes I get to them, sometimes I don't. But this particular situation here with the Wendy's and the Jack in the Box situation. Also, wait, can I move this one over here, or is it going to break everything? Let's see if this breaks everything. We'll find out. Now I'm just running tests to see what I'm doing wrong. Because I want to be able to swipe back and forth without making it do that weird thing. Which this is going to be useless if you're listening to the audio version on Patreon. But on YouTube, if I go side to side, okay, doesn't do anything. Cool. So Chrissy Teigen tweeted this week about, I'll just read the tweet. Here goes. Both Wendy's and Jack in the Box spicy chicken sandwiches are better than Chick-fil-A, says Chrissy Teigen. It's a take. People here, as with any Chrissy Teigen tweet, I'm also taking a sip of beer. It's just a lot of talking straight. So Chrissy Teigen, gonna always get some Yas Queens going her way, always gonna get some support, but absolutely correct. It's a bit of a spicy take. This person here, really, everybody chiming in at support. Oh, this one's good. This GIF right here is rooting for you. I was rooting. Yeah, that person is mad. Or Tyra Banks, I know it is, but that person who was representing Tyra Banks is mad. This guy's unfollowing. He probably didn't unfollow. He's probably just looking for attention. But point being, if you're going to come at the king, I would say that Chick-fil-A is the king, unequivocally. They are the best chicken that you can find in every possible way. I'll add another sandwich to the fire. I really like the Carl's Jr. spicy chicken sandwich. Oh, good. This guy on the YouTube chat, Chet Siegel. To be clear, if I were Chet Siegel, something would have gone very wrong for both of us, I think, in our lives if I were suddenly associated with her. But Chet Siegel's doing other things. Chet Siegel is doing improv comedy things as best I know. Go follow her on Twitter. I'm sure she would appreciate that. But don't mention the YouTube channel, because I think she had a bad time after I left Guyism, and then she got driven into the ground by both our former employers and life on this channel. But yeah, Chet Siegel, a beautiful, lovely woman. So go support her. Yeah, that's good. It is good. It's good that I'm not Chet Siegel, and it's good that she's not me. I support both those items. I don't support, though, anybody questioning Chick-fil-A. I think that's the one thing which I would stand by. People, too, who get weird about, they've donated to gay stuff in the past, and I guess maybe they still do. Listen, man, people have their beliefs. Not one that I hold near dear to my heart by any stretch, one that I would very actively go the other way. I have family members who are gay. I myself am just dodging dicks left and right all the time. And it's whatever makes people happy, whatever people's lives are, whatever gives them meaning. I very much support that. But if you're a person who is going to not eat chicken because a place donated to anti-gay things, or donated to not even, I think, directly to anti-gay things at this point, but they're donating to Boy Scouts, and the Boy Scouts have a bad thing, and the Salvation Army, or I think maybe is one of their other donors, who they don't do the best by gay people. Look, nobody does the best by anybody. Not going to get political in any way. Nobody's doing the best for anybody right now. Everybody's looking out for themselves. Everybody's doing their own shit. The more that you're just willing to accept the fact that people believe different shit, and that, as long as it doesn't affect you, and if it does affect you, that sucks. If they're, donating to gay marriage, or if they're just being assholes in some way, or doing whatever. What the fuck? And there's just a lot of things with that whole situation, which I feel like is just unnecessary. Enjoy the stuff you enjoy, and be the person that you are. I think that's all what you should be, and other people should be willing to tolerate that and be willing to accept that. And it's crazy to me that some liberal people are I could never date anybody who voted for Trump, and you want to defend it, and you want to get mad at them, and you want to prove to them why they're wrong. That's all well and good. I fully support that. But if you want to be a person who just writes people out of your life because they believe different political things, the amount of people I saw from my high school, which is a predominantly Jewish, wealthy New York high school, I'm not either of those things, but that's where I went to school, because the local schools near me growing up would have gotten me stabbed. But there's a lot of people out there who I just feel like immediately want to write somebody off, or even turn on people they have in their lives. You've always heard the meme-based conversations, I guess, about people and their families and arguing at Thanksgiving over oh, this person voted for Trump. My uncle voted for Trump, and I need to prove him wrong. Fucking cares. So if there's that part of the equation, I feel that way about things that actually impact society. I can tell you what, if you're fucking depriving me of quality chicken because like they donated to the Boy Scouts and somebody doesn't like that and thinks that's anti-gay, fuck off, man. Like, chicken first and foremost. So Chrissy Teigen, I would say, not on her page, and I would say she doesn't know her chicken sandwiches. That's all. You know what? If she wants to fight over it, we can. She is a published chef. I certainly am not. So good for Chrissy Teigen, I guess, having a take. Wendy's, I enjoy Wendy's. I love Jack in the Box too, man. I love shitty fast food. If I had to rank them, it's still Chick-fil-A number one. And then, number two, I think, honestly, I'm going to put that Carl's Jr. one number two. I've had that twice in the last week. I might have that today. That chicken sandwich, it's a West Coast brand or whatever. Or it's not all the country because there's Hardee's in part of the country and it's Carl's Jr. in another. Real fucking stupid. They don't put hot girls on cars anymore eating burgers sloppily, but they make a fucking sick chicken sandwich. So that's what I would say. And Chrissy Teigen, go fuck yourself for your chicken sandwich takes. But I'll give a side, because whatever. I really don't, to be honest, this piece of content, let me take a hit from the bowl. Let me finish this. Let me do all the things at once. I have a Chrissy Teigen story. So when I first moved to LA a year and a half ago, or not first moved because I went to college out here too. When I first moved back about a year and a half ago, if I learn how to use a lighter one day, I'll be unstoppable. This one's also running slightly low on lighter fluid, so that's what I'm going to blame, not my own incompetence as a human being. They'll both certainly apply. So Chrissy Teigen, I went to a Laker game. The only celebrities across from us, so I was not front row courtside, but one row behind front row courtside. So, look, I'm a piece of shit. I certainly am not a courtside person. Despite my festive hair, I am not a courtside person. And I was there, and across from us were Chrissy Teigen and John Legend. And exactly what perception you would have of like a social media famous girl. And she's more than that. She's very funny. Like I think she's an okay person. I really don't have an issue with her in any way. But it was her with John there, and he just looked fatigued and just looked like tired. And just like it's her being like, let me take a stop. And it's just him like, and it's and there's some other coloring too where this is just a rumor. I don't know anything. I'm not a person who's in the know, but I have heard from people who work in entertainment out here that perhaps there's a little bit of a beard situation there where John's career at a certain point needed a feminine touch, and maybe there's a convenience space thing, and if I were to judge, but I don't even want to go on that ledge, I guess, or on that limb. It just looked like a guy who was tired of the shit. And just a dude who's just, there's the expression of always of wherever there's some hot girl, there's some dude who's sick of fucking her. And that's, that's a super misogynistic thing. I get that. But it's certainly true. And it's true of everybody. Like, no matter how great you are, no matter how rich the dude is, no matter how as big his dick is for a girl, you're sick of his shit too. He still smells, he still farts in bed, he still does whatever. It goes both ways. So like, I really think that John Legend can very credibly be sick of Chrissy Teigen's bullshit and still also be totally normal and be fine, and they could be even happy together. But I know what I saw firsthand. I'm a body language expert, even though, I'm just fucking spasming over here. I'm fucking with the variable bit rate, which I'm sure is going to ruin the video when I do that hand gesture. But I think the stream's working well, by the way. I'm happy about that. I don't really want to judge. Oh man, this is also a thing too with the 420 cast where I haven't been doing it live. Obviously, I've been recording it for Patreon over GarageBand, and now that I'm doing it live, I just completely fucking forget what I'm talking about. But anyway, I know. Okay, so the John Legend thing, I don't know. I just think that he could totally be it could be a beard situation, could be her, just covering up for stuff when he was trying to make it in hip hop, trying to make it in R&B. But also, he could just be a straight dude who's tired of her always whoring for attention, but still loves her big, great mom, I'm sure. Still loves those big Thai mixed titties, which just perfect. That's, if you're gonna eat any Thai food, I would advocate for Chrissy Teigen's titties. That would be the one that I'd want to go for. So this is gonna be the last thing I hit on. I don't want to go too long with the streams. Look, I could fucking talk forever, and I do talk forever on these links you're gonna find on the YouTube. Oh, I'm just pointing the links. Ooh, follow me here, check that, whatever. On my podcast, the Untitled Chris Spags podcast. just me talking. This is what I do. I don't want to rely on another person to record shit. I can talk for an hour. I've been doing it long enough now. So just subscribe, go to Apple Podcasts, search Spags Podcast, give it 5 stars and a review, positive review, or to say something funny, whatever. But the 5-star part with the review really helps me out a lot. I'm just an independent content creator who can't get fucking paid by YouTube, even though I have access to the YouTube channel and own it. I cannot get it back right now. So hopefully that'll sort itself out, and hopefully that'll help me make more vlog style content. But for now, we'll see how this live video does. We'll see how many non-views it gets, and we'll go from there. But the last thing I want to hit on is this story, and I got to scroll. So I got to scroll the right way so you guys can actually see the headline, because let me make sure. Now I'm like cross-referencing my headlines and shit. Also going to open another beer in the meantime. I think you can see this one. All right, so Jada Pinkett Smith. There we go. Now I can see on the stream. She was a porn addict, you see, apparently before Will Smith, which right away offers some logical gaps, because Jada Pinkett Smith was dating Will Smith like fucking 30 years ago at this point. And I don't know what porn she was addicted to. Like, you were addicted to fucking magazines and shit. She's married to Will for almost 22 years. So 22 years going back would be 1997. So she was like, I was talking about, no, what? TMZ Sports just like sent me to another article. That's stupid. TMZ, you fucking suck. In addition to reporting on people's suicides incorrectly, you are not the best in a variety of ways. But anyway, so 1997, she's addicted to porn. I mean, I guess at that point too, it would really feel like an addiction. Because again, you're just sort of stuck there waiting around. Like, I remember, look, I don't mean to talk so much about jerking off in the first public live stream I'm doing on this channel, but I remember like just the concept of waiting around for that stuff, and like, or you have to build up like a cache, and you have to build up like an entire kind of war chest of 56K downloaded images. Otherwise, you're just screwed. And I also remember a time, which this is a story which I don't need to share, but I will. One of my buddies from high school, one time we went over to his house, so we'd all hang out and like play Mario Tennis and whatever, and order dominoes and just bullshit. And one time I searched on his laptop, because I forget why I learned this, but if you searched on an old Windows PC, and you could probably still do it now, if you search like star.jpg or star.mov or whatever, star.any file type, you could find all those file types that person has on their computer. And my friend at the time had a video of a man masturbating like vigorously, just like a full chafed dong. Great guy in great shape. I'll give him that. The guy in the chair, great abs, even though he was sitting, and you kind of get that little belly fat. He didn't have that going, but he was stroking a very chafed penis, clearly working hard for this video. Maybe multiple shoots. I don't really know what was going on. And he was. It was called Quickies. And my friend denied it to the death for years, until he was like, well, I got curious one day, whatever. Which, whatever. He's not, as far as I know, not an out gay man. He's dating a heterosexual woman. Sure, having a lovely time, a lovely go of it, of heterosexual sex. Him and John Legend both just really giving her the old what's it. As straight men do. They give him the old what's it. That's what him and John Legend are doing. And but he did have this video on there. And at the time, you could like credibly... Actually, no, at the time, you really couldn't credibly just accidentally get something, especially a video file, because it would take hours. And he had DSL super early because his dad was like, very into tech stuff. So, maybe that's a little bit credible. But even still, it's not as fast as it is now. So even a 10-second video clip, you're waiting an hour for that. That's going on. The process. So like porn addiction back then, and that's just porn experimentation. So porn addiction, you are really investing time and effort, and she wasn't as rich and successful as she is now, as she was then. But I said that backwards, but you know what I mean. There's marijuana and beer going on, whatever. And overall, I would say that things have changed quite a bit, where now I could see how you could be addicted to porn, sex addiction. I think much easier to get laid probably than it was in the 90s, unless you were super duper famous. And then even then, were you really sex addicted as much as you were just getting laid a little too much? Even now, but it's easier to see how these things could happen now, because you have so much. You're swiping on Tinder, you're on your porn, I got a fucking new laptop here. It's connected to a gigabit internet. I get a fucking gig of internet every second. I could be porning it up every second right now. Instead, I'm hanging out with you guys, streaming, trying to be moderately entertaining, hoping this will fucking get me somewhere out of the doldrums that are in my life. And instead, like, there's just so many things you could do now with all that technology in front of you, whereas then you are making a real concerted effort in a way I find it hard to believe, like a hot, aspiring Hollywood it girl is like addicted to porn. And maybe by girl standards where it's just like, I watch porn like once a week. Like, I'm super addicted to it. Like, oh, I'm such a bad girl. I masturbate once a month. And I don't even put up candles and bubble baths. So that's why, I'm sick. I'm as deviant as you. I'm like, okay. That's a Louis C.K. bit, so I guess I can't even reference it anymore because he just had to jerk off at everybody. Fucking Louis C.K. ruining all his comedy forever. But his thing where he would say that, oh yeah, like men with sex is like, you're being, or actually no, whatever, I'm just fucking, it's the weed and the Louis C.K. The man, he's just jerking off at women. He ruins his bits for me. But he was saying how women and how they're always like, oh, I'm such a sex addict, I'm so crazy about sex, is like Jane Fonda being in Vietnam, whereas men are like John McCain being holed up in a cell, being poked by sharp sticks. Like, that's what male, like, sex addiction is compared to female sex addiction, or just being dirty, or just being a pervert, or being whatever. And I would probably agree with that for the most part. Like, I'm not into very degenerate stuff. Big on casting. I think that any sort of casting session that gets turned into pornography, obviously those aren't actually casting sessions. They are trained actresses who are skilled in many ways often. But I would say for the most part that I don't really get that weird with it. So maybe I'm not the expert on it, but I would say women are certainly not getting weird. And I would certainly say that Jada Pinkett Smith, with her fucking sassy pink mom hairdo, her fucking Kris Jenner hair right now in that photo, she is very much not going that degenerate with anything. She's not eating butts. Do you think fucking Jada Pinkett Smith's ever licked a butt in her life? She didn't even know what a butt would taste like. Especially not a West Philadelphia butt, born and raised on the playground is where that one was spending most of its days. So, pretty swampy Will Smith ass. But also giving Will Smith credit for the fact that he somehow saved her from this life of porn. Get the fuck out of here. Will Smith didn't save shit. Anyway, it is what it is. So, this is the first test run. I'm going to see how it does. I'm going to see how I feel about the concept. I'll see what the reviews are. Obviously, that one dude wasn't happy with it. Other dudes seemed okay with it. So, I don't know. The two people participating in chat, thank you guys for participating. Thank you for being a patron. If you're listening to this or watching this on Patreon, I think I'm just going to dump it in as a video instead of making an MP3. Yeah, let's do it that way. So go to patreon.com/Chris Spags. I have premium content on there. This may be back on here next week. I may do something separate next week. I don't know. The content's hard. I'll be back though doing something next week. So keep your eyes peeled here. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. The news will be on there with whatever I do next week. And check out the Untitled Chris Spags podcast. That is something I am for sure doing, and I know what I'm doing every Saturday in the morning. Right now there's a Game of Thrones recap on there. I did it the second the episode ended. I know I'm very unique in that there weren't enough podcasts out there covering Game of Thrones. So thankfully, I bravely stepped up. But I'll be talking about John Wick 3. I'll be talking about some other shit that's going on in the world and in life. So check that out. Subscribe on iTunes, search Chris Spags or just Spags Podcast or whatever on iTunes, on Spotify, and you'll get in there. And I'll see you guys again soon. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and enjoy the rest of your week. I actually don't know how to end this, so this is good. All right, now I got it. All right, enjoy the